Hello, it's Hydra here, and welcome to my first challenge run of how fast can I beat Pokemon XD at Gale of Darkness with just Groudon Kyogre. And me having to take an interest in watching challenges myself, I figured I would do one myself. And me being a Gen 1 boomer but identified as a Gen 3 veteran, I wanted to replay this game. Now here are the rules. 1, I won't be at fault in the beginning because out of my control I don't start off with 2 Pokemon, and I have to wait till I get my second Pokemon to modify them both in the game. So I'll leave a timestamp on the screen and in the description when the run truly starts. 2, Shadow Pokemon given due to plot reasons will not be used and will be boxed on convenience. And before I forget, I have subtitles/CC options on my videos if need to keep up, as I know I speak fast or soft spoken. So with all that being said, let's get started, and you're going to be surprised, so stick around. So we start the game with a Pokemon cruise ship being taken out of the ocean mid-setting, and it's crazy how it's depicted as a whole cruise ship that's full of passengers, but only 2 dudes seem to fall out of the whole ship. And after the opening cutscene, we have entered the Matrix, and we have to defeat this virtual Metagross, which I defeat with my veteran level battle skills. And after the battle, I leave the digital world, then I'm tasked to find my younger sister named Jovi by Professor Crane and my mother, which I found out where she is after discovering she left her friend hiding under the table, probably for hours while they were playing hide and seek. So going toward the laboratory where she likes to make her hangout spot every now and then, the lab sister issues a challenge where I be asking my name. I put him and the circles in the ground where they're now pushing up daisies. Then I get my sister and dip out that case of a scientist's lab. Then I head back to the house to get the snap machine for Professor Crane, with the purpose of catching and saving shadow Pokemon, but that won't be happening in this playthrough. Sorry, which makes it virtually making this whole machine useless. After that, the professor gets caught slipping and gets snatched up by Team Cypher, and we have a tutorial battle. We have to take his Teddy Ursa so we can have 2 Mons throughout our journey, as this double the battle game heavy. So soon we get our second Pokemon, they make off with the professor. So we go inside and we regroup, and we decide to keep going with our plans of our artificial purification machine, which isn't necessary to literally the end of the game for 1 Pokemon. But I digress. So then we are tasked with going to the port city for a part, and our annoying sister gets to follow because she knows somebody there, and as soon as we get there, she starts running around like a 6-year-old on a sugar rush, and then bumps into this meathead that I'm not sure I can take physically. So as she's about to face her certain demise, this old man and his 2 bodyguards, which has a nice color scheme, representing Ruby and Sapphire if you look at it that way, starts a scripted battle of the best psychic type in the world versus a Zangoose, and it gets put in a blender, and then the old man and his super strong bodyguards, who is not definitely major characters in the game, walks off. Then we head to the part shop to learn that the guy is gone and his son is doing something with the bridges. So we find the guy and head home to be told to purify the Teddy Ursas that we won't need. So basically we meet the man Egon, who has put us through a gauntlet of battles to get our shadow meter down. In the midst of that, our Eevee evolved into an Umbreon, and we destroy the trainers, and we face Egon, his lone Pikachu. That would easily take out then purify our only shadow Pokemon the organic way. And now that we are in the clear, I am finally able to put the weather duel and rampage of the Aura region. Leaving Agate, I go to Mount Battle in order to get leads on the professor, and upon entry I meet one of the gentlemen back at the port town who sadly tells his guilty conscience has him wondering because he's definitely not a bad guy. So to move on to learn that the guy we're looking for is out in training rookies, and we have to face a small gauntlet of battles, to which I soon realize of how challenging or time consuming, to say the least, this run will be. I noticed the movesets for these battles aren't optimized because the game starts off at level 10. They won't learn their natural moves till sizable level skips. So we'll have to brute force it for a good while. After I'm done with the tower, I head out to the desert from our lead, and when I arrive, I battle the incompetence of the Cypher Power Rangers. And spotting there was hard, as some had to either type match up along with the stat debuff moves, which dragged the fights out more and made me go back to the egg gate and heal after most matches, even though there was a healing booth in the building, which I knew that earlier. But during the end of the gauntlet, my beast on Ancient Power, which is the 10% rock move, Omni boosting, and as this is Gen 3, it's counted toward physical side, so my Groudon, I can start bulldozing my opponent. Being the one-man army that I am, I rate this death base of Cypher, and I eventually level up enough to where Kyorge Groudon's Body Slam and Groudon's learn Slash, both at level 20. Then I eventually have my rematch with Naps, as he's upset that his Teddy Ursa was used for tutorial purposes, and I crushed him worse than I did last time. Then I run to his sister Lorena and I power her team into the ground as well before going back and taking Crane back to the lab. Luckily they didn't force me to have a Pokemon that needed to be purified at that tutorial, with the machine up and running now. I go to Pirate Town while I test a couple push upgrades and with some quick city battles, and also enter tournaments so I can get a quick break. And they basically have me leave the city for what usually will be a tutorial as a means to catch wild Pokemon, but will ruin the purpose of the challenge, so I go back to Pirate Town where we found the new station has been taken over. Sounds very familiar. But nevertheless, I liberate the station to find out I have to go to Phoenix in a warning. But I get pushed out and urged to visit the Regum Tower where Kyogre can finally hold its own weight, because the team shop is here and it's no sham of BP grinding. So I teach Kyogre Blizzard and Thunder for grass coverage and Thunder for flying and a 100% accurate move. As if you already didn't notice, Kyogre Drizzle is more dominant because it's slower than Groudon's Drought. Now skip back to Phoenix, find out the plot's already been enacted. I defeat a couple peons that I need to beat to get to the fake Justy, and then I have to battle Cypher, Admin, Snaddle in the Coliseum, which I should say is the best visually appealing out of all the Coliseums. Same goes for the city, but this battle where I was nervous to extend because Kyorge's rank can work massively against Groudon. But luckily since I got to Blizzard, the battle goes smoothly and I level up, and I learn Calm Mind and Bulk Up, and which is almost what I need to have a good moveset to skyrocket the run. The next milestone is around 45. So after I free all the characters in the gym's underground section, I attempt to go to the new area but cannot because my current school hardware cannot get through thick sand. So after I do some game padding events, I get what I need and I'm able to head to the SS Libra, the ship from the opening cutscene that got dropped off in the desert, and there's not much to go on as it's mainly empty, and I just bounce some peons after being introduced to another admin. Then I walk out the boat and I get caught in by washed up Team Snag'em, and they get me for my snag machine. And to be honest, I would have let them have it because I didn't need it for this run. So now I must detour before I take on Cypher Key Lair, and then I eventually get back to the outskirts where I'm gifted a Togepi that I won't use, but I have to get so I can get to Team Snag'em's base after I face Mirror B being a pain in the ass with his water and grass types. But I defeated him and I go off to get my items back. I finally get to face all these ball chumps after a hideout, and usually one of the few times I get them in parties because they have decent sized teams and they have a good portion of glooms which can be bogey and a general pain with their spores and good defensive capability. So long story short, dealing with such Pokemon that can paralyze both my Pokemon was slowed down beforehand battling with Gonzap leader. And this fight gave a little challenge, and at the end of the fight, his Witch Cat decided to go for a water room, knocking out my Groudon for the first time in the run. So due to Gen 3 doubles mechanics, I had to send out the Togepi I had on hand because there was no PZ to my knowledge in the base, and my Kyogre just attacked and won the match anyway. But in the midst of all that battle, Kyogre learned Ice Beam, a superior ice move, so I deleted Blizzard as if I need, I just buy it again. Now I'm able to head to the most important part of the game. That's because I'll never forget going to Walmart when I was a kid just to play the 10-minute demo back when they used to let you play games in the store. And if you remember that too, you're eligible for a veteran's card. But now I'm here, I face the Knuckles that we seen in the beginning, and he hates my guts now. But I destroy him and my Groudon with Earthquake, like the best ground move in the game, which is also Stab. So before I really dig into the dungeon, I go back to the Ringling Town so I can protect for Kyogre, thinking how it's already powerful enough, it won't use Simple Calm Mind. And I also use Earthquake when I'm killing it because Groudon just that powerful. So as I'm tearing to this base apart, I'm only getting annoyed because how enemies come at you and only trying to do mandatory battles. I eventually came across an enemy that had me utterly stumped because he has the Shedinja, which has the ability Wonder Guard, and I couldn't hit it with anything, so I had to shoot Groudon with an Ice Beam to expedite the whiteout process. So I can come back and teach Groudon Flamethrower so it won't be an obstacle, and I came back and crushed him under my Primordial Heal. Then after that battle, I continued to face an admin that was introduced in the SS Libra and I obliterated his team to only find out the guy that was in the very game is a bad guy. I'm very shocked. Where he said he's out on his private island and I can't catch him, if I could, I'd just be destroyed. So of course I call him on his bluff and I take the Kyogre machine that the doctor tries scrapping the padding events, and I go there to face more peons and other enemies, which essentially felt like a victory road now that I think about it. And the first admin I rematched is Lorena. She wasn't an issue just like the first time, in fact she was way worse. A few more battles and they both led up to level 45 where Kyogre finally learned the stab move, which is unfortunate because we have to end the game, but I put it to good use and I didn't teach Groudon the Fire Blast because I already had a fire move that I really didn't want or need outside that literally one instance in the game. In one of the battles, my Kyogre got confused and didn't protect, and got blown back by Earthquake, so the 11 was off, but it wasn't a big deal in the long run. I just liked how they was always synchronizing XP. But I finally made my way to the top of the owl, and here comes Snaddle that I embarrassed on live TV in a blowout game, and he hates my guts as well. And wants a rematch to redeem himself, which he will live in shame for the rest of his life because it's another blowout. Then I go battle Ardos, was waiting for me at the entrance, and he's telling me that he wished me off me sooner, and is obviously the more aggressive of the two bodyguards, which I show him what takes was to come to his boss and eventually tell him to move out of my way. Then upon entry, I face Grieve when he suddenly has a glass divider that's totally not a way to get me to take a detour and have a rematch with the last admins I haven't faced, which I destroyed by the way, and some random peon that was hanging in the hall. So now he sends his last and presumably his best admin, which is Elders, the one that actually has a conscience and shows honor with his opponents, which paired with that in his roster is one of my favorite battles in the game. And I beat him, so coming to the very last encounter of the game, I switched Flamethrowers with Thunderbolt as I know what team it consists of, and was lazy to go back to Raven to buy another Thunder TM. So I catch up to the Mastermind Cypher and he finally unveils his XD001, which offers admins foreshadowing the Pokemon at the beginning of the game cutscene and the boxcar legend. So we put down Lugia with not much effort because Groudon had Thunderbolt, so I was able to chip at it with Kyogre doing most of the damage. With Lugia being defeated, Grieve goes all Persona 4 on me and unleashes his shadow, his true self, and he has a decent team which includes the legendary birds that are on par with my weather duo. As far as leveling go, it proved to be a challenge as Groudon couldn't do much outside of Thunderbolt because half his team was flying type and one of his stab. So it wouldn't be my best interest to go for Earthquake, and because of that he eventually knocked out my Groudon, which is the second for the run entirely. I soon get to a place where just 1v1 versus Kyogre and Tauros, but I said Groudon deserved a finishing blow on it, and I revived it because I knew I couldn't lose anyway. and break Beckett for the win, and I crushed him so bad that he doesn't even have the will to go on. And then the bad bodyguard comes in and suggests to kill me and everybody on the isle as they are replaceable. But then the good bodyguard comes in and tells him that this is wrong and they should start anew. And we learn that the both bodyguards are his sons. And he's talked out of the life of being a wealthy person that does bad stuff behind the scenes. In the end. Now that the game is beaten, my final in-game time is 9 hours and 34 minutes, which is pretty good going off recollection compared to the average time the game has anyway. This is a really fun challenge to do. It's a good excuse to replay this iconic game, and really being the Pokeboomer that I am, I still think this game is a superior Pokemon representation on consoles, in my humble opinion, to this very day. The settings I have for this game make it vastly pleasing to look at, and I know YouTube won't process it how I want to, so you guys can get the beautiful view as well. But make sure to like, comment, subscribe, please, as this was my first challenge run video. I want to do more, and I'm going to do a Coliseum on my other channel. Check out that as well. I might even live stream it on my Twitch channel depending on things. Also, I do a wide variety of content from reviews to simple top 10s. But anyway, other than that, have a good day. Goodbye.